or not as complete as they could have been. So hopefully you used that time wisely. If not, you have a little bit of time before they're due, so make sure you get on that and make it your best work, because it'll be the first assignment going into PowerSchool. Okay, so today we are going to talk about something that you guys have been asking for since we're going to start tracking our reading now. So if you've ever played a sport or an instrument, then you are probably familiar with the idea of setting goals and then practicing to get better. So maybe if you play, say, baseball and your weakest area is hitting, so you make a goal, a very specific goal to keep your eye on the ball and your elbow up, right? I played softball. And then you practice to improve. You go to the park by your house, you go to the school baseball lot, whatever it is, and then you probably did improve because you set a goal and you worked towards it. Or say you played an instrument and you want to be able to master a song. Maybe you want to play it for someone. So you make a goal possibly to learn one chord at a time, or one part of the song at a time, or just to play the song from beginning to end over and over until you get better at it. So the point is you practice to improve, and then you probably did, right? So today we're going to talk partly about setting goals and practicing to meet them, and then also about keeping track of our reading in these reading goals, right? So if you're ever listening to a song on Spotify or Pandora or SoundCloud, and you would probably favorite it or like it, right? And it would help you keep track, so you could find them again, so you could share them with others, so you could look at what you've listened to in the past. So just like you might keep track of goals for sports or instruments or the songs you like on your favorite music platform, readers also figure out techniques that work for them to track their reading. We are going to be using the same reading log together. It's going to be a digital weekly reading log that we're going to push out to you. But first, before you even start tracking your reading, we're going to start talking about goal setting. So we're talking about ways to track your future readings. Like I said, you'll all be starting with the same one, but in the future you'll have a little more choice. So you might choose to go with a calendar form, where maybe you literally just print out like a hard copy calendar, or you keep a digital calendar where you go on every day and you update it really quickly. Or maybe you have some other sort of digital system, like, I don't know, Evernote, or you throw things up on a Padlet, or maybe you have a Google form that you fill out every night, and that way it creates a sheet for you that has all of your reading tracked in it. Or maybe you use just a simple table. This one I have a feeling you're the most familiar with. It's like the simple line by line where you enter the date, the book you read, and the amount of pages, which is the one we'll all be starting with today. So we are going to pause this video really quickly, and we're going to open up to our reading log in Google Classroom. So go ahead and do that really quickly. All right. So you've opened up your reading log, and before we start tracking our reading, we're going to do some goal setting together. So in lesson 5, you made a reading volume goal where you timed yourself for 20 minutes and you looked at how many pages you can get through. So another thing though that contributes directly to volume is stamina. So when I say stamina, I mean it is the ability to focus and read for long periods of time without being distracted or without distracting others. So I want you to keep this in mind as you are making your reading goal. Can you be more focused in your reading, right? So, or more mindful about when or where you read so that you're most focused and engaged. And then I want you to also keep it in mind your volume goal that you made. So when we're goal setting, we want to think about volume and stamina, because both of those things together will lead to improvement. So we're going to make our goal now, and then you're going to have a little bit of time today to start tracking your reading, and just make sure that your goals are specific and realistic, but that also you're pushing yourself. Probably no less than 15 pages a day, probably closer to 20. We want to make sure we're in that 20 or 30 minute range every day. And then just a reminder, a reading log will be due every 3 weeks, and ideally you'd be getting through one book during that time. So have fun tracking your reading, and I will see you in a second.